Hey everybody, Mike Vacchi, PrincetonTrader.com here with a little closing recap here as we get ready to head into the new Globex session. This is something new I'm going to try. We tried the evening recap, which went over really well, and so we're going to do this. But we're going to try it a little bit earlier in the day to kind of give you a wrap up of where we were and where we're potentially headed during the overnight session. Okay, bulls own the day today. They owned it. They bounced it off the Putin press conference down at 45, and they never really looked back. It was pretty much a trend up day. You saw a little six-handle pullback there around 11 o'clock, but other than that, it was up and away. And what you see now is that the bulls have taken control of the middle band, both on the continuation contract and on the June contract, as we discussed this morning. So you've got a solid bounce on the June contract off the 50-day exponential moving average. On the continuation contract, you've got to move down, not quite to the lower band, but it's going to be good enough. Tomorrow is going to be all about Janet Yellen. If the bulls cannot, if the bulls can't maintain 60, you could see a little bit of a deeper pullback potentially in the overnight. What I did want to show you before we go is this 1867 level on the continuation chart. Back last week on Thursday, this was a chart that I did for my subscribers that showed basically a failure at our proprietary lower level, which on that day was 1867. The bias retest fail setup. We made a bias, we retested the bias, and then we failed. That failure carried through down into 1823, which was basically the test of that lower Bollinger Band. So it was a very nice area to fail, then retest that 67 before you really got that whoosh down. Now Friday was a hard day to hold through that with the chop, but you know, that's just one of the things that we do that happens to work. Now, what we have done today is we have round tripped it all the way back up to 1867, which was our high during the session today. So as we head into the trade here in Globex, when we open up here in about 15 minutes, I'm going to be very mindful, obviously, of 1867. Mindful of 1860, which is kind of incorporated with the daily pivot down here. But on a move through 67, then it sets up really, in reality, a test of the 75 area, which was the highs from last Thursday. And on a move through that area, we're talking about new highs, or a test of those highs. Now, all of this is dependent upon what happens tomorrow with the Fed. What's the reaction going to be to the Fed? I have no idea, and neither do you. Don't game the Fed. Don't game the Fed. And we'll talk about that a little more in the morning webcast. But just be mindful, going into tonight, you've got double pivots, daily pivot and the 9-day pivot at 58 to 58.5. Below that is the 20-day pivot, 56.33. The 45-day pivot is sitting down at 1827.92. So peak price today, the gap from the 45-day pivot is about 40 handles. So it's strong, but we're not in an overbought area. And you got the daily pivot sitting down at the 1851 area. So everybody have a fantastic night. We'll see what the evening brings. You know, Europe has stolen some highs and lows, but I expect tonight to be a fairly muted session, absent any big news bombs out of Ukraine, as we kind of, you know, just wait around until we get to 2:30 tomorrow and see what Janet Yellen has to say in her first press conference as Fed chair. Okay, everybody have a fantastic night. Catch you guys on the market webcast first thing in the morning. Trade them well.